I think I need another cheeseburger.
Just going through my notes too. Like, it took me like 15 minutes to understand what this one note I put down for the show was for.
Who reads
Surgeons
notes?
don't need no smarts.
Valid.
So it's funny every now and then how our subconscious works, and we create, dreams, and oftentimes weird dreams based off of, just a mash pile of things that go on in your life. Do you want to hear a good one?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm solid.
Move on to the next bit here at the Middle Classholes.
Anyway.
So Sarah tells me, so she got a rundown of the show, I think 2 weeks ago when we were talking about the China anal swabbing for coronavirus, right? That was 2 weeks ago, roughly. And then sometime during the week or soon thereafter, we watched a Rick and Morty episode. Okay. So then she has a dream in which she's on a spaceship and aliens are anal swabbing for the coronavirus, but they're doing it all alien-like. They're doing it all Rick and Morty creepy, like, yeah, spread your legs.
Right.
Here. This is a swab, but it looks like a tongue and it flicks.
That's kind of how that would be.
Where were you during this dream though?
Christ. I only dream of sheep jumping over the fences. I count them. They're the hundreds.
Because of Joe Rogan and all of his DMT talk, his psychedelic experiences that he always chats about. He talks about how they think that maybe DMT's released and that's why you dream the way you dream, is you're having these fucking psychedelic experiences while you're asleep. And part of me wants to get a hold of some of that sweet dream cream right there, baby.
You mean while you're awake?
Man.
Well, I mean, I guess that would be the whole point of like a DMT experience, is that you're actually dreaming while you're awake. Like, you're inducing it in the most enhanced way humanly possible. I'm starting to realize why sometimes like the hoity-toity, like the snooty politicians are like, oh, these are gateways to more dangerous experiences. Because the more I listen to Joe Rogan, I'm like, yeah, man, where you gotta get that shit on the dark web? Yeah, I could order me some DMT from Russia. Let's do that.
That's how it goes, man. You like eat some mushrooms and you're like, this is kind of cool, and then you progressively make your way to like LSD and you're like, okay, so you can see other things that don't exist, and then you kind of work your way into like some fucking hippie friend of yours talks you into going to Costa Rica and you try some like ayahuasca, and then shit starts getting really real. You know what I mean? You come back, Southwest, you find some medicine man shaman, peyote, you work your way to DMT where you're just dealing with like Albanian gangsters and you're getting shit in fucking tiny vials. That's how it goes, but I think that's how you open your third eye, from what I understand.
The next step in that psychedelic evolution is dream cream, as Murr coined it.
Dream cream. That's exactly what it would be called if it was marketed.
Yeah. They've done, I feel like dreaming and sleeping have been studied out the wazoo. And that's interesting that they can't figure, I mean, so Rogan's theory is that this DMT gets released while you're dreaming, which is why you have such vivid I guess pictures and motion pictures while you're asleep.
Almost like a 4D experience, but you're not there. You know what I mean? It's all happened inside like this encased dome, like this fucking organ inside your body's like, all right, we're going to fucking Moscow today, and we're gonna be doing a little cliff diving with some squirrel suits. Here we go. And then you wake up and you're like, holy shit, that was awesome. And then 20 minutes later, you start to explain it to somebody, and you're like, and I can't remember what happened next, though. But you experienced it. You lived it. And these people that study dreams are starting to think that there's like this pineal gland inside your head that releases small bits of DMT. Mm-hmm. Now they're starting to think that there's other parts of your body, other organs that have this shit in there. And when you get into hard REM sleep, it's released. And then you start to kind of wig out. But you don't wig out because it's not jarring for you. And he talks about how, like, yeah, it's a lot like these DMT experiences I've had where I met the machine elves that are putting together my ego and deconstructing it and reconstructing it all in this fantasy world that lasts about 20 minutes until I come to and I make $100 million. So it really makes you kind of want to explore.
So what are they going to have? Like some sort of 60 gauge syringe and right in the middle of someone's REM sleep, just right out the front of their fucking frontal lobe?
No, apparently you just sit in your living room like Charlie Sheen at a crack party and you light up a glass pipe and you fucking zoom into the netherworld.
But how would you extract it? That's my...
Well, I don't think...
You could just make it.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's not like adrenochrome. You don't have to harvest it from fear. You can just make it in a lab.
I'm glad you picked up on what I was like getting at. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah,
you got it, man.
Yeah, that's why we're here. Checks and balances.
Always on top of it.
You don't have to fear scare a small child with the skin of her own face. You can just kind of get it from plants and such, and and it does the same thing. It's in ayahuasca. That's why
that's it. Yep, exactly. There you go.
Yeah, and think about that. Think about all the crazy fucking stories you hear from like the Mayans and the Aztecs and the Egyptians and everybody that's ever existed before us in history.
Yeah,
like they were just rocking out on this stuff.
Yeah, that's how you get jaguar gods.
And jaguar gods seem pretty fucking cool to me,
right? And they have a lot of them.
Rare. Okay, so explain this one to me. I have you guys ever woken up from a dream in just sheer laughter? You woke up because you were chuckling at something that happened in a dream?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever done laughing. I might have to ask Kelly.
So I don't know.
I've been screaming though. I was just screaming the other day. As a matter of
fact. One of them sex dreams. Wake me up in a panic.
It was what I believe was a bat fly attacked me in a confined spot. I was freaking out. And so I was literally like, and then Kelly like hit me and I kept, I actually got louder and then I woke up like 30 seconds later. And I was like, oh, okay.
So I don't think I may have I may have prior to this about 3 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. This happened to me. Woke up in laughter. I was like, holy shit, that was funny. And no wonder I woke up. And I'm kind of pissed that I woke myself up because I was laughing so much. I wanted to continue that fucking dream. So I'm in what is probably like a small banquet hall at a class reunion of mine. Okay. But it's not just people I graduated with. It's people that are a little bit older, people that are a little bit younger, also people who I have no clue who they are. And then some people in costumes, just random fucking like Oriole bird and other mascots are parading around, kind of like an Eyes Wide Shut type thing going on. Then we're dragged into this hall where they have a large projection screen and they're showing something back to when we graduated, where they're introducing people as a guy and a girl, and they'd come out and they'd dance, okay, and they'd say so and so is going to University of Maryland next year and wants to major in interior design or something like that, Then the people come out in tandem. As today, 20 years later, and they're introducing them, and right in the middle of it goes, I don't know who the girl's name was, and it goes, and blah, blah, and Master P. I turned to someone, I say, wait, Master P graduated with us? And I lost it. Just woke up, just like, could not believe that happened. Now, wait, fucking Master P? Make him say, graduate with me? Shit. Damn. How did I miss that?
Did not know that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I haven't had a good dream in a long time, but I do wake up in the middle of the night with fucking stupid thoughts like surgeons don't need no smarts, because I do get into deep thought as I'm trying to fall asleep. And this one came down to me and Alan were mocking the rural communities last week when we were talking about the
Wendy's?
The storming of Washington and such.
Oh yeah,
and
call it representation instead of mocking, but hey, whatever.
Okay, we were we were accurately representing Middle America in the flyover states last week, and I started to think how crafty these motherfuckers are, and how they can fix damn near anything with very limited tools. So they're not dumb; they just ain't got no smarts, so to speak. And then I started to think, like, why don't we have trade schools for surgeons? Like, why do we have to spend thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars in student loan debt to teach really smart people that are only good at chess how to fix things? Because we're really only fixing the human body. It's like this big machine. Hillbillies are great at fixing machines. Why don't we get them into a classroom with wet noodles and grape skins and have them learn how to fix people like mechanics?
Dude.
We save a shit ton of money. We don't have to pay them so much, and we can skirt the whole like knowing shit. They don't need no smarts.
I'm going to tell. This is a straight up quote, okay, from a surgeon down at Anne Arundel Medical Center when I was filming certain surgical procedures. In this case, it was a knee and hip replacement, and that's all this guy did. And he says, "Man, we've got it down to a science. It's basically like carpentry, knee and hip replacement." He's like, this is, it's so fast and so efficient and so easy now that it's like basic carpentry. So take that for what it's worth. I don't want a carpenter. I don't want someone hanging up my drywall. Be like, God, man, my hip's a little creaky. You think you can go get a stainless steel joint and fucking pop this in there for me? Obviously, I want a sterile environment. I want an anesthesiologist and a few other safe havens if that's to be done. But it's funny you said that because that's a direct quote.
I mean, that's fair. Go ahead.
No, okay, like Jeff Gordon doesn't need to know how to fix the car. He just got to know how to drive it. So I don't need my surgeon to know anything about anatomy. Like, hey, man, I need to stay away from that red pumpy thing, right? Yes, you do, Roscoe. Don't hit the red pumpy thing. You got it. Whoop, 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 whoop. Zzz, zzz, done. Like, I need a pit crew guy. I just need a pit crew guy fixing me up. He doesn't need to know why the bolt goes one direction and not the other. He just has to know that it does. I don't need him to go to 7 years of school. I just wonder how many qualified individuals, qualified body mechanics out there that exist but don't necessarily have the book smarts to do the job. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying on the surface. I think Wes touched on a couple things, but I think number one, I don't know if you've paid attention for the last year, but the American populace has a gross misunderstanding of the microbiological world and how infectious disease operates. And then number two, which is probably the real answer to your question, is how the hell else would they be able to charge so much money if they didn't waste so much money to go to school? You get what I'm saying? There's a whole healthcare industrial complex that we're not thinking about.
Right.
But that's really what it is. But I think more so, I don't want Farmer Jim really working on me because he might get the job done. He might connect the tubes that need to be connected. Totally agree. Gotcha. Totally with you. When he closes me up and maybe gets a little dust in there, gets a little dirt, that's going to be problematic, depending on where said wound is. That's like literally how people died in wars. They would just get hit in the leg, and that's it. They're just dead. They're dead now because we can't stop infections.
I'm not saying that you drag. Alan needs a ball and hip replacement. I'm not saying we drag you down to Scooter's garage and he throws you up on the lift and he starts hacking away with a circular saw and a ball peen hammer. I'm saying you still go to a medical facility, and yes, there's still people that are there that maybe went to 7 years of school, but old Roscoe P. Coltrane, he ain't the one that has to worry about like all the microbiological stuff that's going on in the room. He just says, gloves, somebody gloves him. Tools, somebody tools him. All right, where's that slippy part? Right here. Okay.
This is like, I think we were having the discussion before, like right before the show. I don't even know if we were recording. I don't think we were, but Wes and I were talking about work stuff. So basically what you're saying is like, we've got a guy, he's like a technician, he's the lead technician out in the field. I got my project manager. My project manager is my doctor, my 7 years of schooling. My project manager is like, hey man, I'm going to need you to glove up. I'm going to need you to get up in there, get waist deep, right around there, cut it there, attach it back, close it up, clean it up. That's important. Yeah,
Shit.
and make sure the customer is satisfied at the end.
You're gonna have to revamp the vocabulary because suturing and things like that just aren't gonna ring a bell.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea because you could save training money on things like cadavers and certain live parts, and you could just basically roll out a bunch of Mr. Potato Heads and just use those as kind of like a training for these would-be or wannabe doctors, surgeons.
Well, I saw this. It wasn't a
joke,
documentary.
by the way. None of you guys laughed. I was storing that puppy away for a couple of minutes. Like, as soon as I get a break,
sorry.
I'm breaking up Potato Head. Here we go.
I'm sorry. My train of thought was right into this fucking weird-ass documentary I watched about Korean surgeons where, like, these guys, like, go to school, but they're all pussies because all they've ever done is go to school. They've never seen a dead body. They've never seen a live body. They've never seen a body cut open. And they all want to be surgeons. So they sit them down, and they're like, they get them a bunch of, like, different fruits and shit, and they make them, like, frankenfruit them together. And they got to, like, be able to, like, suture everything together all nice and neat. And if they can't pass, like, this basic, like, skills class, then they don't become fucking surgeons in Korea. They're done. They just wasted all of their education because they don't have the finger skills and the motor skills to actually perform the procedures. So I just imagine how many of these hillbilly surgeons are out there that could do all this fine-tuning stuff. Like watchmakers could probably be better surgeons than some surgeons out there.
Yeah.
It's just they don't have they didn't go to anatomy school.
Yeah, when I was working at the University of Maryland, we in the simulation lab, we had kind of these machines that mimicked minimally invasive surgery. So like three holes. You have a camera and then the two parts. And it was basically a pegboard. So a small pegboard with these kind of rubberized parts or bits that went into the pegboard, and you had to pick them up and drop them onto another pegboard. And I was with a lot of practice and a lot of downtime, a lot of fucking off during work, was doing like the surgeon's average in terms of time to perform that task.
Yeah, but you were able to do it because you are an athletic dude and you have good fine motor skill. And that's all it takes. You don't have to know what the shit is.
Well,
you don't have to know the difference between a scapula and an asshole. You just got to know where the fucking, where's the pegboard? Pegboard 1, pegboard 2. Got it.
I think a lot of this also, like, I don't know if you guys have ever cut open live things, but
wait, this took a dark turn. Continue.
They're not the same. Okay, mechanics working on fucking 2001 Honda Accord gets another 2001 Honda Accord in there. Everything's in the same spot. Fucking, unless some kind of crazy modification has happened, there's kind of a manual to it. Like, your appendix is supposed to be in this quadrant, but it might not be.
Merge the front of a Pontiac Fiero with the back of a Chevy Monte Carlo. Don't tell me they don't know how to figure out where things are when they ain't in the fucking right spot.
Again, this is the Mr. Potato Head thing. The nose can go in the ear, and the arms can go in the legs holes. You could do it.
If it was that simplistic, we'd be able to like transplant whole fucking halves of bodies, and we can't do that. Like, we haven't figured that one out yet.
Ain't never let me have
hands and shit.
We haven't got enough Jim Bobs and Ray Rays up in there to.
We can definitely barely do hands, and like, I understand hands are complex, but we're talking about whole half of a car to another half of a car. I mean, sure, I would love horse legs, but we're not there yet.
Right.
So, I would love to be a minotaur, but we're not there yet. So.
That thing wouldn't pass. That thing wouldn't pass inspection anyway. I don't know what state it was done in. It's probably illegal as fuck.
Yeah. Here's the thing, man. I know a guy. He'll pass it right on through. You just got to slip him $50 and a bottle of Jack.
It's good with the VIN numbers. Good with trickery. So I think we owe Mr. Andrew Murray a little congratulations for winning the Middle Classholes NFL Playoff Pick'ems.
Good job.
Yes, this just goes to prove to you that you ain't got no shit about statistics to still come out on top at the end of the day, baby. You go on gut, you go on feeling, you go on heart, you go on soul, and you go on fucking Tom Brady, who's won 7 goddamn Super Bowls. So there's no fucking reason to bet against him.
I mean, yeah, you weren't wrong. He made that one easy.
Well,
It's kind of very easy.
kind of helps when your defense is playing fucking lights out.
Well,
He
kinda
wasn't
helps
tackling.
when your O line is playing like trash, and then that D was playing well. We all talked. I think we all said that. But there was just some fucking guy. I think even JPP leading up to it, who's like, I don't even fucking know who that guy is. I'm gonna run around him all day, like leading up to it. And the offensive lineman was naturally like, no, I don't even care what he says. He's definitely gonna run around me because I'm not the starter. So that was basically how that went down.
Why is your offensive lineman sound like Dr. Steve Brules? Maybe that's it.
I don't know. They seem to be very monotone. You know, that's what I've noticed. When you check out your next introductory on Sunday night, introductions on Sunday Night Football,
Gotcha.
all the O linemen are just regular dudes.
Steve Pierce,
Well,
BYU.
and they're all tired from eating 7,000 calories to keep their bodies at like 350 plus pounds just to play the game of football.
They're literally maintained like fucking cows, like animals, because they expend so much energy being giant and moving.
Damn.
I swear to God, though,
But it
I
is.
feel like you could have just cued the Benny Hill theme song every time Patrick Mahomes fucking snapped the ball in that game. And just that poor guy.
said-
I mean, that was a well-coached game by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I think there was a stat on how much he ran, how much he scrambled after that, either being on any passing play. It was ridiculous. Just and you know, yeah, I got burned. I was 1-3 this particular hoorah or whatever, this tournament that we had with Tom Brady. I did pick him to beat the Washington football team, and I'm not exactly shocked because he's done it so many times. And you know, people say, well, he cemented his legacy. His legacy was cemented fucking long ago. His legacy for me was cemented in that loss to Philly because he had statistically, which was probably his best game as in a Super Bowl. But fuck, man, it's just you could see it, and then they're all celebrating, and he gets to do that stupid fucking smile, and Gronk gets to do his little fucking jig dance, and Bruce Arians gets to look there like, I don't know, like he ate 14 fucking Taco Supremes yesterday.
Bruce Arians was like, Tom Brady's the best head coach in the league. God damn it.
Now, I have heard people criticize him for like that, for letting, saying the things like, yeah, I just let Tom call the plays and he calls them and we win. But how many head coaches in the league let their players have that much freedom? And even, I mean, obviously, I don't say obviously, I don't know what Belichick and him and their relationship were necessarily like, but the guy's seen more football probably than anyone in the league, sans a handful of head coaches.
Right.
So it at his age, there are coaches right now that are younger than Tom Brady.
Yeah,
Tom Brady has seen and played more football than all of them. So why not let the guy call some plays? Like, I know what they're going to do on this play. I know what play we have in the playbook that will match or beat it. I'm going to call this play. And it does. It takes a little bit of an ego suppression for a head coach to say, all right, Tom, you call it then. It's your call. Go for it.
Did you guys happen to see the very overzealous sign language dude in the pregame, or it might have been during the singing of what do they do prior to the national anthem? Was it
God Bless America?
God Bless America, America the Beautiful. Yeah, they had like they almost like they had to do an audition for this. In particular, we need the most eccentric, charismatic, just downright blow the lid off sign language person we can find in this country, and they did. Did you guys see this?
I know what I was finishing up my chili. I don't want to detract from what was it, the black guy with like the dreads and the red shirt on.
Yep.
Okay, now I saw them introduce him. I didn't know why he was there necessarily, and then I have finally perfected. It's taken me 5 years to time out how long it takes my chili to finish, so that during the national anthem, I can stand in reverence and then go fill my bowl, throw my cheese and my sour cream on, and have it on the table before the snap. So I did not see the America the Beautiful sign language guy.
Oh, well. You didn't miss much. Just the best. Just the most entertaining part of the whole night, if you ask me. I did. I did come up, and Murr, this dates back to your. Did you invent the cork soaking, or remember that whole bit from SNL, cork soaking, that you were peddling?
Cork soakers.
Cork soakers.
This is ringing. The cork soakers. Yeah, that was something I came up with. I can't remember. You remember my bits better than I do. Yeah, but I do remember saying cork soakers a lot.
Well,
but
when you're a young, impressionable young man, just fighting down, barfing up a Coors Light, trying to be cool in front of his brother's older friends, you listen, buddy, and you remember. Anywho, I came up with one. All right, so a team, if you have bet the over, okay, in a Super Bowl, which cousin Dylan did, and he lost. But if you bet the over in any type of football game, and a team runs, I'll say, anywhere from like 8 to 10 plays, gets a couple first downs, takes a lot of time off the clock, then kicks a field goal, that team is what I coined clock gobblers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Don't be clock gobblers.
I like that.
Yeah. Go clock gobbling.
Without giving away too much of where I work, a few years ago, we have a dock, and sometimes people will park there, and they always say, "All right, somebody's blocking up the dock." And finally, I said, "Listen, there's a much easier way of saying this. Call them a dock blocker." Oh, it got a big hoot and a holler in a blue collar working space. So now, for the last 4 years, who's the dock blocker? I get it, because it's like cock blocker, but it's dock. Hey, you came up with that. I know I did. Thank you for pointing it out for the 1700th time. I wish I had never spoken that word in my entire life. But I do appreciate the recognition, though I now wish it was pawned to someone else.
Nice.
Dock blocking.
That's a good one, though.
Murr, you would come up with this. I'm going to share my screen here.
Oh.
And we got this is an interview post a win at the Australian Open that's taking place right now. Oh, darn it. All right, I'm going to mute this.
Yeah,
anyway, so
berries.
This is, yeah, that's right. Murr, you had said this is why athletes give very
shitty cliched interviews. Yeah.
So where do I need to start here? I didn't cue it up.
No, it starts right at the beginning, dude. Just go right back to where Homeboy's setting him up there. Is that Courier? I can't remember.
That is Jim Courier. That's correct. All right, here we go.
Interview is like this, and Courier, he takes the crowd, the booing crowd side, and it's just like, well, I don't think you can save this one now. And they kind of have a slight sort of tongue-in-cheek chuckle about it, but it becomes ultimately uncomfortable for Norwegian guy there because
he's Greek, but that's fine.
He's definitely Greek. Yeah. Okay.
We'll see.
Tomato, whatever.
They just held up that very recognizable national flag.
Yeah, and his name, Stefanos Tsitsipas. Yeah, sure.
That too, yeah, like the letters T, S, and I together. For any reason.
You should be proud of me, Alan, for misappropriating a white person's culture. Okay, I don't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Thank you.
Touché.
The point is, he didn't say anything wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like if you asked his opponent, hey, how'd you think you played tonight? Shit. How did your opponent play? Amazing. He kicked the shit out of me. That's why I played like shit, because he was that much better than me. What do we want athletes to say anymore? Do we want them to speak truths, or do we want them to say, well, the ball was bouncing my way out there, and the strings on the racket were really taut and tight, and my follow-through really allowed the physics to play in my favor? What do you want him to say? I played amazing. I can't believe how shitty he was. I won. Next question. I don't know what he said wrong.
Yeah. Nah, I'm with you on this one, man. He got set up. That fucking whoever the interviewer was like, yeah, so that dude's a mop, huh? And he was like, well, what the yeah, but what the fuck am I supposed? That's rude, sir, that you made me say that he's fucking terrible. But yes, he's terrible. That shit was mad easy. I'm awesome at this game.
He said he's terrible tonight. If you look back at the context, he says, I'm surprised at how easy it was tonight. Not saying that this guy's a bad tennis player, but I mopped the floor with him. I'm not saying that First of all, English isn't this first guy's language. You can tell. You can tell he's kind of walking on eggshells, and we stupid Americans take that shit for granted because we talk way too fast when it comes to like dealing with people where English is their second, maybe third or fourth language, and they're trying. And he's in Australia. He's trying to be a star. I mean, he's knocking at the door. This guy, I think, is number 4 or 5 in the world. He's got all the tools, necessary to be fucking great at this sport. Yeah, man, this is fucking that shitty. Usually the Australians are relatively like low key. I think like the New Yorkers would be like, "Fuck you! What the fuck you think you are?" Maybe they'd embrace him. Maybe he needs to do that in New York in a few months.
Was his opponent Australian?
I don't know. I didn't.
That might be the kicker. They were like, what do you think about this Australian being a big old bag of dicks? And he was like, I mean, he kind of was. Sorry. And then the Australians got all pissed off. I could see that being the case.
Weirdly enough, I didn't stay up until 3 a.m. to check who this guy beat. Didn't set my alarm to see the first and second round of the.
You catch
Australian
that live?
Open. No.
You catch that ass whooping live?
I tell you what's interesting. They're doing at the U.S. Open. It's all there's no line judges. It's all computerized.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's no challenges, nothing.
Now, okay, what are your thoughts on that, Wes? Because I know you're more of a tennis fan than I am. I enjoy watching it. I like watching like the final couple rounds and such. But like as a takeaway from the purity of the game,
fuck no. It makes the game better. There's no bickering. Then there's no complaining. There's no ambiguity. There's no wondering whether or not that was in or out. It takes all that away. And so what? A couple dozen old people lose their part-time job for 2 weeks during an Australian summer or wherever they're having these tournaments at. Boo fucking who? Do something else. No. Christ, no. I think it's great. I think it'll open the door for other sports to do this. Like the first down markers are a fucking chain. And it got 2 posts that are like just kind of old guys are standing there and judges are like, yeah, put it there. Here? Where?
I've always
right
wondered
here.
That
Here?
it comes to a single point, but it's just 2 fucking old guys like hand wobbling it down. They're like, all right.
Yeah.
And then they just sit it down. It's like, well, you slid that like 4 inches.
And they're getting
that's a problem.
Regularly tripping over fucking television cables or water bottles or other fucking players, and they have a referee to tell them where to put it. They don't even know.
They put a fucking line on the field for us to see.
Yeah.
Use the line.
That's right.
You've already had the line.
Which is done by lasers, by the way.
I know. Well, okay. See, I've held, I don't know. I've got a leg straddling both sides of this line because I do like that the little bit of ambiguity that comes with human error, so to speak. Baseball. So if we're going to drag this all the way out, do you want a virtual strike zone put into baseball where they, I don't know, maybe like in the pitcher's mound, there's like a laser box. Yeah. And if the pitch is outside of that laser box, it's automatically a ball. If it's inside the laser box, it's automatically a strike.
I'd need to see that in the minor leagues as a like a buffer year to see just exactly how effective that would be, or if it would sabotage things. That can't be in the major leagues year one.
I think that's a little that's a little more nuanced. Baseball's a little more nuanced, and we could have a fucking long ass discussion about this, I'm sure, but. Like you said, I would have to see a lot of testing. Whereas I think tennis is cut and dry. The only real marker of any like major success is that ball on this side of the line or on that side of the line, or is it on the line? So if we can make that as exact as possible, or as exact as the line exists, then fucking do it. And then you don't have McEnroe fucking losing his mind and shit.
That's right.
Granted, that was entertaining, but you've got accurate fucking, you got an accurate competitive match where I'm sure we've all seen people get robbed at fucking major tournaments for shitty calls.
Yeah, but I also feel like even with the implementation of instant replay, we've still seen people get robbed. I feel like, Des Bryant, the catch that redetermined what a catch in the NFL is, like. If we didn't have instant replay, that would have been a catch. but suddenly we had the ability to watch it in, 1 frame a millisecond. And then we were able to determine that it wasn't a catch. And if you went back in time, you probably would have a lot of plays that wouldn't have occurred because of this new technology. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think instant replay has ever diminished a game or enhanced a game. I feel like it's been a wash. But I also feel like it's changed the game. Like, it's redetermined what the game is. And in baseball, strike zones are determined by the umpire. And like he's got a wide strike zone. He's got a pretty tight strike zone. You hear those terms. Yeah. I mean, so I don't know. Maybe like bowling, like they have different oil patterns. Like, do they get a random strike zone pattern for the evening that you've got to figure out? Maybe it changes a little bit by the 7th inning. I don't know. I don't know if that would make the game better or worse.
That's why I think it's harder. You've got, in my opinion, you've got varying heights of players affect where I'm calling a ball and strike. Like, having been behind a plate for 15, 16-year-olds, like the 5'4" kids not getting the strike zone call of the fucking 6'1" kid. You know what I mean? So there's all these crazy variables to that, whereas the lines on the fucking tennis court stay exactly the same. So,
but you could. I think the strike zone is probably the last hurdle on all that. Fair and foul, safe and out could be determined. I don't mind a human strike zone
with those.
Yeah. But fair, foul, safe out, home run, not home run, fan interference, yada yada.
I watch soccer. Like, they've started to implement shit in there, and like there's a lot of shit I hate about the way that they use replay. But likewise, they've had it for years now. But like the goal line technology, so the whole ball has to cross the line. And there are very many times in competitive soccer where the ball does not fully cross the line, and is cleared off. And it's down to the point now where there literally is a laser. You get one of those cool fucking 3-dimensional, like, hey, ball didn't go off. Look, check out that little sliver. Mm-hmm. But the ref has a fucking wristband and it vibrates if it goes all the way through. So he doesn't even need to check. He doesn't need to know. And nobody needs to tell him shit. He feels it. And once it goes through, boom, he just points to the spot and we reset. You know what I mean? So, like, that's cool, but replay has made the handball fucking awful. You know what I mean? Now it's letter of the law. If your hand is anywhere away from your body and it touches it, even if you're not making a move towards the ball, you're getting it, and it fucking kills games. So
I guess this kind of comes back to my hillbilly surgeon thing, because in reality, right now, you have people that fully understand the ins and the outs and the rules of the game officiating it. But if the lasers take over, then you just need a glorified Apple Watch wearer out there to be like, oh, the machine says this, that's the call. Like, there's no judgment calls if you have the machines doing it for you. Whereas
there
right
are
now
for fouls in soccer. Yeah, fouls.
So, all the fouls for the most part. But, the only things, replay has really come into play with offside and handballs and shit like that. And then they'll look at replay for, egregious shit. Like, if you fucking clean somebody out, studs up, they're going to fucking take a look and be like, all right, buddy, you got to walk. But, for the most part, the fouls are just called by as is. I would get rid of fucking VAR for offsides and just go back to fucking teams right up the asshole. Fuck it, because they're fucking teams the other way anyway. So
I want to leave you guys before we get to our first break. Murd, you had asked about, or you had said, actually both of you said that was a loaded question that Jim Courier asked our homeboy there.
Yeah,
this dials back. Someone asked Tommy Lasorda, God rest his soul, passed away a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, how he felt about Dave Kingman's 3-home run, 7 RBI performance back in 1978. Here was Mr. Lasorda's response to that moronic reporter.
Give us just a few basic comments about your feelings on the game.
Well, naturally, I feel bad about losing a ball game like that. There's no way you should lose that ball game, and that just doesn't make sense.
What's your opinion of Kingman's performance?
What's my opinion of Kingman's performance? What the you think is my opinion of it? I think it was put that in. I don't opinion of his performance. He beat us with 3 home runs.
Right?
What the you mean? What is my opinion of his performance? How could you ask me a question like that? What is my opinion of his performance? He hit 3 home runs. I'm off to lose the game, and you ask me my opinion of his performance. I mean, that's a tough question to ask me, isn't it? What is my opinion of his performance?
Yes, it is. I asked it, and you gave me an answer.
Well, I didn't give you a good answer because I'm mad, but I mean...
That wasn't a good question.
That's a tough question to ask me right now. What is my opinion of his performance?
You get the point. Same deal.
But at least that reporter was like, yeah, it wasn't a good question. I mean, at least he owned that part
just
of
next here on the paper, so I wrote it down. Now we got this bit.
Played a good game, didn't he? 3 home runs.
Now listen up, fellas. Do you know the statistics on unprotected sex? Men are 3 to 5 times more likely to bust early. Don't be a pump and dump. Wrap it up. Now, back to more of the Middle Classholes.
Welcome back to the Middle Classholes. Foxman, Murr, Allen, and joining us for one of our favorite segments, Asking for a Friend, legal counsel from the Big Apple, AC Esquire, Adam Calvert. Thank you, brother.
Oh, well, thank you for saying one of your favorite segments. Did you say that to all your guests, or is this true? Is this really one of your favorite segments?
We've only had 3 guests, so...
Yeah.
All right.
It's definitely in the top 3.
Yeah.
All right. I'm honored.
Can put that down, 100%, buddy.
I'll put that on my resume.
Kind of like when they labeled Lebowski the laziest man in Los Angeles County, which puts him in the ranking for laziest man in the world. Same boat. So yeah, of course, Asking for a Friend is where we get our legal expert and counsel on to walk us through a couple scenarios that may be happening in the world where someone might be in some legal trouble. Murray, you have the stories. Take them away.
Okay, and if you have any legal questions you would like us to pose to Adam, you can email us at mdlclassholes@gmail.com. And eventually we'll check that email sometime in the next 3 to 4 years, and we will get back to you as quickly as humanly possible. But our first story tonight in Asking for a Friend is the Super Bowl streaker. Did you guys finally catch the video of this guy on YouTube?
Saw it when it happened. Yeah. Saw the video on YouTube and saw that he may or may not be cashing in on some serious dough.
Now, I've seen both ways. I've seen an actual story. They're hard to find. I saw it on a prep service, a radio prep service I still have access to, that it was real. I've also seen all over the internet that it's fake, but it reads like this. So Ryan Butler is the streaker from the Super Bowl, and apparently he bet 7 different bets equaling a total of $375,000 that there would be a streaker on the field during the game. So he spent $5,000 on 2 tickets for him and his friend. His friend jumped on the field first. We didn't see that because security promptly speared his friend before he got on the field. But he only used that as a distraction so that he himself could get out on the field in his hot pink singlet where he it was riding high up the old ass crack.
Kind of had a Borat look to it.
Yes, it did. So they had an agreement. He would pay him $10,000. He would pay the friend $10,000 for as being the distraction, and then he would also pay to get him out of jail. The streaker paid a total of $2,000, getting himself and his friend out of jail. He then upped what he said he was going to give his friend to $20,000 since it worked, and he ended up gaining a total of $348,000 based off of the prop bet that there would in fact be a streaker on the field during the Super Bowl. So Adam, the question we have for you is this legal? Is this something that he can collect on? Is there anything that says you make a bet and then you make the bet happen? Is there anything that disqualifies him from his big payday?
Yeah, so I was actually looking at the rules for a few betting websites and like the Caesars Sportsbook rules. There wasn't anything specific in those, but then I was on the Nevada Gaming Commission's website, and there's a whole statute in there that basically says that if you alter or even know of something material that would alter the course of the outcome of a bet, and you bet on that you can't recover. It's actually considered fraud in Nevada, and he could possibly be prosecuted for it.
Now, are all of these gaming sites, do they have to go through the Nevada Gaming Commission, or like, because I know if I'm not going to say any of the legit names, but I know some of them are based in New Jersey and things like that, and aren't necessarily, they go by the Nevada lines, but they don't necessarily abide by the Nevada rules. So if he just sprinkled these bets about on different sites, I mean, could he skirt those rules?
Well, I wouldn't think so. I would think that any state, I just use Nevada as an example, but I would think that any state that is going to have gambling that would be one of the first things you would say, is that if you engage in any sort of criminal conduct in relation to a bet you place, or if you alter the outcome of a game. I mean, if you walked onto the field and, I don't know, let's say that the game was a little different and the Chiefs are driving to win the game, and you go in there and take out Patrick Mahomes' kneecaps and then to cover a bet, I mean, there's no way that you would be able to recover on that bet. Plus, all right, so that's the statute legal line. But I would also say this, even if you could, the guy didn't really streak, right? I mean, he wasn't naked. He was wearing a leotard. I would say he didn't actually streak.
Yeah.
Okay,
I agree.
That's fair. But he did show his naked ass cheeks.
I don't know if that's considered streaking.
Yeah.
I think for a male, it has to be,
Dick and
balls out.
balls.
Yeah, exactly.
Division sign.
Yeah, I think he failed at not just arming himself with a trench coat, because that's really the way you go about doing these things. Yeah, and I'd have to agree. If I'm Vegas, I'm like, nah, buddy. I didn't see Dong flip flopping around on national. I am sorry, sir. You did not streak. You just ran on the field and got tackled. That is your fault.
Exactly. I mean, I would want to see what the actual prop bet said. If it said a streaker, or if it's somebody that ran on the field. I feel like they say streaker, probably.
Yeah, that's what I would think so.
It probably says streaker, but I feel like, okay, in a court of law, I feel like I could make an argument that the term streaker is a rather broad term, simply meaning someone making their way onto the field of play illegally from the stands. Because in the past, you had a lot of that one chick, the chick from like the 70s and 80s with the big tits that would come on and like
the kissing bandit or whatever. What was it?
Yeah, Kissing Bandit.
They considered her a streaker, but she never showed those big, luscious fluff pillows that came out onto the field. But she was still considered a streaker. So I feel like, that could be semantics there.
I don't think so. I never considered her a streaker.
No, just came out, planted kisses on the cheeks of athletes.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Internet, the Oxford definition of a streaker:
Okay.
a person who runs naked in a public place, especially in order to shock or amuse others. Naked, right there in the definition. Guy wasn't naked.
I want to point out something unrelated to streaking, is that if I were if I was the friend of this guy who was responsible for bailing him out, even if I was almost, I'd say like 90% guaranteed that this bet was going to pay off, if I had to bail any of my friends out for $2,000 for a stunt like this, I might be like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a little tough. I don't know about that one, bro.
Yeah, but $2,000 to make $350,000.
Well, according
the friend was only going to make 20.
Yeah.
He said he would pay his friend $20,000 out.
Sure, but he paid the $2,000 to get them both out of jail. So my point would be that he paid $2,000 to make himself $350,000.
Well, here we are debating the legitimacy of whether or not he's going to cash out. So it might have been $2,000 pissed away down this guy's unshown ass crack.
I'm looking up the definition of brief nudity as it applied to the old HBO standard in the back of the pamphlet, and it does say that the naked butt cheeks is considered brief nudity as far as the MMAP standards are concerned. So I could make an argument that showing the naked butt cheeks would be considered nudity, and then that would also imply...
The definition doesn't say somebody who runs through a field briefly nude. It says naked. Naked. That means no clothes whatsoever.
I would say nude is the present tints of nudity.
I would say that you're wrong.
I think I guess the bar here is, did they blur out the cheeks? If they didn't have to blur out the cheeks, then it's not nudity.
They turned the camera because the NFL's a bunch of pussies and they don't like true fucking entertainment.
Because they didn't know, you never know what's going to happen. Nudity or otherwise. That's why they turned the camera. But they didn't have to blur it. I haven't seen blurred cheeks, is all I'm saying. In the videos that I've seen, in other pictures, I didn't see any blurs. So, not nudity.
Because the internet's the Wild West, baby. We don't need to blur that shit.
Yeah, but CNN would blur the cheeks if there was like a little bit of brown eye that you could see. You know?
So basically, this whole thing is going to come down to some video forensics expert taking zoomed-in photos of this guy's butt to figure out if this guy's the other guy's gonna make $375,000, right?
Yes.
And they're going to play blurred lines in the black background just to enhance everything. Did he get paid out? Did he get paid out?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
You don't think you will? Now, my follow-up question to that is, does he still owe his friend $20,000?
Well, that would depend on what the agreement was. If the agreement was, I'll give you $20,000 out of my $375,000 that I win, then no, assuming that he doesn't get paid out. But you would have to figure out how it was worded. He said, "I'll give you $20,000 flat if you do this." That's a different story.
Okay, now I wasn't there, but I know how this went down. There was about a third of a bottle of Jameson that had just exited the top of some glassware, and it was like, "Yo, listen, I'm gonna put like 5 bets on a guy being on the field. You're gonna jump the fence and get speared, right? Yeah. I'm gonna run on the field because they got you and not me, and then I'm gonna give you like $10,000. But if it works, I'm gonna give you like 20." I guarantee that's how that fucking conversation went.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If he said that I'll give you $10,000 regardless, then yeah, he owes him $10,000.
Okay. The prop bets, like, okay, the blue Gatorade was another prop bet. I'm just thinking about this. Couldn't you just tell a friend, asking for a friend, couldn't you just tell a friend, like, "Hey, Wes, I'm the honorary water boy for the Super Bowl. Listen, put $30,000 on blue fucking Gatorade." Okay? Does Wes get to collect the money for me if no one can prove that I said, "Wes, it's going to be blue"?
Well, the same statutes that I was talking about earlier, they say that what you just described is also illegal, but certainly a lot tougher to prove than placing the bet yourself.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So, from our legal counsel, if you're going to streak on the field place a prop bet, always let your friend bet the money for you before you exit the stands.
Yeah. And make sure that friend is not also the same guy who was getting drunk with you before you decided to jump onto the field. Don't call, because then it'll be in your phone records. I don't know. Communicate with somebody. Send a letter to somebody far away from the game and have them place the bet.
It probably shouldn't be a person that you have like hundreds of recorded hours of video with either.
Right.
Just going out on a limb.
Are we streaking next year? All right. Fucking A.
Somebody who's never been on this show is.
Can you do a prop bet for O's opening day if there will be a streaker? I wonder what the odds are.
I tell you that if we get kicked out of the stadium for life, I don't know. I go too much. Alan, you down?
Yeah, no way. Someone else who has never been on the show can absolutely do it for us.
Someone we don't know.
Another non-legal question. Now, in modern times, it's probably enforceable. But like 20, 30 years ago, if you were banned from a stadium, they didn't really fucking ban you from a stadium. Like, if I went like 3 months later to a different like ticket entrance, are they really going to know not to let me in?
I mean, now they would.
Yeah, because they probably got facial recognition all over the place.
You think they got facial recognition software at Camden Yards to keep out people who've been booted from the stadium? No.
Listen,
it's no different now. I think it would be worse back then because, back in the old timey days, everybody knew everybody. And, now people are just kind of faceless. Drones scan.
I don't think me and Kelly could get through any gate over there without people knowing this. I'm not gonna lie.
Listen, Murr, do yourself a favor. Get the glasses with the fake nose and the mustache if you're really that fucking worried about it, all right?
The Humpty nose.
Yeah.
No, I mean, okay, I could see if you're a season ticket holder, like they could just like ban all your barcodes or something like that, cancel your tickets. But I guess some regular schmuck like me who buys tickets at the window on the way in, like, yeah, I'm like, I could streak tonight and be back tomorrow. Just keep my head down while they scan and just go in, right?
I don't know about tomorrow.
You got your name in a database, and you hand them your credit card. Boom,
cash, baby. I'm only
Cash.
cash. I don't trust the fucking government. I use Bitcoin only.
I mean, if they need to use the cameras, I know what kind of cameras they have, and they will fucking find you if they need to use them.
All right, our second question tonight, and asking for a friend. First, I'll ask this: can you be arrested for things you post on the internet?
Sure.
Generally speaking, okay, sure. Like what kinds
Depends
of
on
things?
what it is. A death threat or something like that.
Okay, but does it have to be specific, or can it be like vague? Like, is there parody in any of this?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's all contextual. It's like, there's a famous Supreme Court opinion about pornography. It's I know it when I'll see it. That's kind of the same sort of thing. I mean, look, any sort of death threat online is going to draw attention. I don't want to. I can't really say what would be something you would get arrested for and something you wouldn't. I mean, you would know.
All right. Well, I asked these vague questions to ask a specific question. Now, I want to preface this by saying, like, this guy's a scumbag. This guy's an asshole. Okay. But a Tennessee man was arrested on Friday for allegedly creating and sharing a fake photo of two men urinating on the grave of a local police officer. We'll say his name because he's an asshole. Joshua Andrew Garton, 28, was charged with harassment for, quote, manufacturing and disseminating the image on social media, according to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. Quote, just showing my respect to the deputy Daniel Baker, the photo was captioned. Joshua Garton was charged with harassment. Baker was, now the cop was shot and killed in 2018. The trial for the alleged killer is coming up. It's been postponed because of COVID, but that's it. That's the story. He's being held in county jail on $76,000 bond for using Photoshop to create an image of two guys pissing on the grave of a fallen officer. And he was arrested for that. What's the law on that? Like, how is that okay? I get the guy's an asshole, and I get it's a shitty thing to do, but can you just be arrested for shitty things?
Well, I mean, you could be arrested for directing a shitty thing at somebody to intentionally try and cause them harm. I mean, there's certainly limits. Usually, I would say harassment is something that happens more over time. Now, I don't know. There might be some sort of history here, I would imagine. I'm sure he's not just posting that on there this is the one time that he's ever voiced this sort of opinion on this, or I don't know why he hates this dead cop, but there's probably some history here. I mean, there's usually more of a history, and also when something even when one instance is so horrific, like this sort of thing is, that is enough for harassment too.
So this picture was photoshopped. Am I gathering that correctly? They didn't actually urinate on the grave. It was photoshopped that they were urinating on the grave.
Correct.
So, is there legal grounds to then defend yourself and say, I didn't actually urinate on this guy's grave? Yes, it's a shitty thing to post, but is this kind of... I guess I'm trying to figure, like, where do you draw the line? It's something that did or did not... Because according to what I know, based on what Murr said, they didn't pee on the grave. They only digitally enhance it.
I think I got a way to gauge this for us.
All right.
If you don't mind.
You want me to pull my pants down?
No. That's wrong measure. Calvert, which side would you rather be on in this case?
Well, I would not want to defend the guy, obviously for moral reasons, but also because I think it's a losing case. To answer Wes's question too, I mean, just because something's Photoshopped doesn't mean that it can't be harassing. I mean, I could Photoshop a photo of me shooting you in the head and keep sending it to you all the time. And that's harassing. I mean, I didn't actually shoot you in the head,
Sure.
but sending something like that is could certainly be harassment. So, I mean, just because something happens online, the way the online world is now, doing something like that is just as, if not maybe even worse than posting something like that on that person's front lawn. So, I mean, if you were, just think of, you could go all the way back to something like cross burning even. I mean, it's a symbolic act to upset somebody.
Okay.
Sure, but even cross burning's protected free speech.
Yeah, but if you're doing it to,
Yeah,
if you're
but
doing it directed at somebody,
It's like you can't
just
do it on like my lawn.
Yeah,
That's not gonna fly.
That's true, but I mean, let's be honest. That cross burning is directed at multiple somebodies, but particular somebodies, and I
Fair,
and
but if Jeb and Jetro and the cousins want to do it behind the barn, that's perfectly fine with me. Do your fucking thing. Burn them up. Burn them. You want to need some gasoline? I'll sell it to you. But fucking doing it on my lawn changes it, and I think that's what Calvert's getting at.
right. And posting it on Facebook is like going around, the community and posting flyers of somebody all through the town on all the telephone poles of some sort of image of them that would upset them. It's no different.
so I don't know. In a way, the reason I feel scared by something like this is because almost kind of like what you said about the current nature of social media is you're on one side or the other, and anything that you post could be considered harassment by someone else. And so if you continue to post your specific opinion over and over and over again, someone will be like, oh, he's been harassing me with his view. And if this guy can be arrested, then I feel like everybody could be arrested.
Well, yeah, I get your point there. I guess maybe we just have to feel like as a society that there are certain points where it's so obviously wrong that we just won't accept it. I mean, is somebody going to actually defend what this guy did?
Do I have
Actually, I am.
I know you're defending his right to do it. But
Correct.
Correct. Do I have a case when my friends post or tag me in food photos, even though endless times I've told them to stop fucking doing that? Do I have a case? They're harassing me.
Yeah, if I was barred in Maryland, Wes, I would definitely take that case. I think you've got a multi-million-dollar lawsuit on your hands.
I do want to say, Wes, about 4 years ago, I was made aware of a mass food Wes Fox tagging, and I am ashamed of this. I did not warn you it was coming, but I backed out and did not participate. So,
Man, Kilby used to send a message to like 40 people and be like, all right, boys, you know what it is. I would tell Kelly. The wives would get it on.
Actually, Kelly had one of the best ones of all time. She made a face out of fruit that had a smiley face and nose with a cherry and fucking eyebrows.
Bar. We were at happy hour, and it was the fruit from a cocktail, and she was like, "This, I got this."
That was one of the best of all time. One of the absolute fucking best.
Good stuff.
That wasn't harassment. That was art.
I'll let her know.
well, all right, let's lighten the mood a little bit here. I am worried about that one. I actually am worried about like where that one goes. Like this guy's a scumbag and he's an asshole and he deserves to be fucking punched in the face, like legitimately. But I do feel like I defend his right to like Photoshop something and put it on the internet because somebody's going to be offended by it. It depends. Did he send it specifically to someone or did he just post it into the ether? I feel like if he just posted it to the ether, it's a different case altogether.
Yeah, I think like Calvert said, I think there might be a history. I also just don't think you don't just jump into fucking photoshopped memes of dudes pissing on cops' graves. Like that's not your entry level kind of shit. You've done some stuff before that. You've made some comments on Facebook. You've probably gotten 30-day bans, and then we've leapt into disgraceful memes. You know what I mean? I think that's how that worked.
And that's not your first rodeo with the magic wand on Photoshop. You've got a pretty good eye for making things good. Yeah.
Well, actually, before we move on, does that mean that I can sue Calvin for pissing on every sports team and Chevrolet trucks?
Only the likeness.
Yes.
Yeah, if it gets those things removed from cars, then yes, please do. I don't want to see
Okay.
it.
Thank you. Okay. And our last story, and asking for a friend. I'm actually asking for a stupid woman who decided to use Gorilla Glue to put her hair in a fine place. Gorilla Glue says that oh, shoot. This is the TMZ story where now TMZ... Oh, God damn it. Here's the brass tacks of this. So some lady ran out of hairspray, and she had some Gorilla Glue lying around. She decided, well, this stuff should actually put my hair and lock it in place, so I'll just use it as well. And now she's going to try to sue Gorilla Glue because the adhesive was too powerful and permanently put her hair in a position. There's several follow-ups to this story. She actually had to go into surgery where surgeons had to apply all sorts of solvents and use all sorts of gadgets to individually separate each hair strand. This is after it took her 5 days to be able to cut through the actual ponytail. Gorilla Glue says, quote, "We are very sorry to hear about the unfortunate incident this Miss Brown experienced using our spray adhesive on her hair. We were glad to see in a recent video that Miss Brown has received medical treatment from her local medical facility and wish her the best." Now, does she have any grounds to sue Gorilla Glue for this unfortunate incident with her hair?
Well, it's funny. So the argument I saw them trying to make, it might have been that same article, was that the warning label says don't use in your eyes, something else, or your skin. It doesn't say hair, right? That's the argument they were trying to make. But she obviously used it on her scalp, which is your skin, and I just think that's a ridiculous out. I mean, but otherwise, I mean, I think that it's obvious that it's not something that was meant to be used on your hair. If you look at the product description, the warning label, I think, is pretty clear. Like I said, the only thing that they're trying to argue is that it didn't say hair, but it did say don't use on your skin.
Now, here's a question: is that not? I don't know if this is just fable or maybe I've heard it, but is that not the whole McDonald's or Burger King hot coffee fucking defense?
Well, that's why there's a warning now on the coffee.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, isn't there precedent then that, well, you didn't put hair on it, and I'm an idiot. So,
but that lady won the coffee lawsuit though because they determined that, yeah.
Well, all right. So you're saying, I guess it does come down to whether or not that warning is sufficient. I mean, you have to have that warning on there, right? But I would argue that it wasn't necessarily the putting it on her hair, which was the problem. If you put it on your hair, I meant like just a strand of hair, that's going to probably just glue the hair together. And that sucks. You probably got to cut that little piece of hair off. But it's the putting it on her scalp, which is skin. That's what caused the issues.
Gotcha.
And there is a warning about not putting it on your skin.
The extent to which she used it.
So
she probably could have got away with it with like a little rub into the hands, run it through, good to go. But she was like all over her fucking head.
This is like LA Looks like 600. If you really want to get down to it.
Okay, here's a follow-up question that I just thought of. So if this moves on to trial, and let's just say in some fictional world this lady actually wins, could Gorilla Glue then go and sue the company they hired to create the warning label? Because I'm sure they have to pass this through some sort of FDA approval. Can humans be in proximity to this substance? And there's probably got to be a scientist that says, okay, well, these are all the rules and regulations for utilizing this product. Could they then go and sue whomever helped them create the warning label for not including hair and scalp?
Before Adam, I would like to interject and object because I know all the terms. I think even if it were to get that far, there's no chance that this would go to trial. That Gorilla Glue would just pay her out. But
like, here's 50 grand.
Maybe I'm wrong. Adam,
I don't know. I think that one, I think Gorilla Glue doesn't mind the free press from all of this, probably.
Right. Our product works. Our product is really good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you glue something and then it breaks. I'm like, oh man, this stupid Elmer's. I got to get something that really holds. And then you see a story like this, right? I mean, that stuff's going to work.
How about they make her part of a new ad campaign?
That's true. Well, anyway, that's actually not a bad idea.
Ron Popeil said it and forget it.
Yes, would buy.
But what was the original question? Oh, well, yeah, I think Wes, you're right. I don't think it would ever go to trial. I mean, I think a judge would probably throw it out before trial. If from Gorilla Glue's standpoint, the problem with settling a case like this is that it establishes a bad precedent. Then every idiot who does something is just going to sue Gorilla Glue. I think I actually, in looking at this story, I found one from, I think, just yesterday where this guy just Gorilla Glued his lips together because he didn't believe that this woman actually glued her hair to her head. He thought it was all bogus. And then he actually had to go to the hospital and have his skin peeled off his lips.
Aspiring rapper Lynn Martin decided he would do the Gorilla Glue challenge, not believing the story of the lady with the hair, actually glued a cup to his face and had to have part of his top lip removed and can have no moisture in contact with his lip after a skin graft for up to 3 weeks.
He ain't rapping no more. Actually, I saw one it's a related one where a guy sealed his butthole shut with Gorilla Glue. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it.
I just made that up. That didn't happen.
But it will now.
It will.
And a true asking for a friend. So, Adam, asking for a friend. If you are voting, we'll say, for, say, I don't know, President of the United States. Now, there's several other people that are obviously on a ballot. Now, if you're in a voting station and you're not sure who to vote for, just asking for a friend, can you cheat off of the person next to you? Is that a federal offense, or is that just like a kind of a he's cool with it, I'm cool with it, I'm allowed to do it, and if nobody sees, it's okay? Is that something you can openly admit to the open public?
I'm not sure. I mean, obviously looking at somebody's ballot for some other nefarious reason to see what they're voting for would be a crime. But no, I don't think so.
Asking
right?
for
maybe you get detention for cheating off of somebody's test. I don't know.
Asking for a friend. If someone takes everything that you say so literal and then uses what you say in terms and spins it into something that makes the person that said it less comparable or less, I guess, with it, do I have a lawsuit at hand? There's some sort of defamation thing.
I think, Wes, I'll give you the name of a good attorney down there in Maryland. We'll roll that into your Facebook, food posting lawsuit, get a big class action going. Nice. Just sue everybody, just take care of all your family business in one day, sort of like The Godfather, And
what I think I do, I'm going to get a trust to where I can absolve 100% of all the likeness to flow cakes, of course, while I'm at it. That way, there's no ambiguity involved in all this.
So you need a flow cakes, Facebook food posting, sort of libel/slander lawyer, right?
Yeah. Do you know a guy?
I do. I got a specialist in that. Yep.
Well, just asking for a friend. Let's just say there's somebody who passively aggressively tries to insult someone, like on a public forum. Can you call them a pussy bitch to their face? Is that legally okay?
You are, and you should.
Okay, asking for a friend.
Make a meme about it.
If I obtain a video of someone doing a stunt roughly 20 years ago and then digitize it and airs it on social media without their permission, am I in any sort of legal trouble?
No, as long as you make sure to send it to me, because I would like to see that.
Got it.
Okay, asking for a friend. Is it illegal to, like, 20 years ago, I don't know, climb on top of an elementary school without a permit or any work contract?
I was like, I don't think they need permits for that.
And then someone maliciously releases it on the internet for the rest of the world to consume. Is there any kind of ramifications of that?
I don't know. I think the statute of limitations for trespassing is probably less than 20 years, so I think you'd be all right.
Yeah. And you could just say you were tarring the roof. Or whoever else was up there was tarring the roof.
You guys saw a leak in the school, and, wanted to make sure none of the kids slipped and fell.
Then I slipped and fell. I mean, somebody slipped and fell. By the way, Adam, apparently the video has been found. So
it's been delivered to Ma Fox, and I'm going up there tomorrow to get it.
Ooh, all right. I want to see this.
Yeah.
Legacy Box, baby. They're not a sponsor, but they could be.
I got to figure out how to convert high 8. That's my next hurdle. So get on top of that.
Good luck.
Yeah. Got a couple USBs, a couple RCAs. I'll be on top of this puppy.
We aren't doctors, but we'd love to take a look at some more of the middle class holes.
Thank you, Adam. Joining us for, what the hell was that? Asking for a friend. Great bit. One of my favorites. One of our favorites. Moving on to another
one bit.
That one bit. One of our top 3 favorite bits here at the middle class holes. Moving on to another bit at the middle class holes. Murr, I think you know what time it is, brother.
That's right, my friends. It's time for your favorite 3 questions of the week. It's officially time for 3 and Out. And, of course, 3 and Out being brought to you by the bullshit online group, the Shin Splints Recovery Group. You can find them on Facebook. Just go there, type in Shin Splints Recovery Group. This thing is actually taken off faster than the middle class holes. There's a guy who's an actual medical doctor whom I saw the back and forth exchange with the bullshit administrator of the Shin Splints Recovery Group, who has now actually created a shin splint recovery shoe or sandal or orthopedic of some sort to help those suffering from shin splints. And I actually, the back and forth, and I know I've mocked it for so long now, the back and forth, most doctors just tell you the cure for shin splints is rest. Well, I've come up with a brand new invention to try and strengthen the muscles around the shin to make that rest time a little less. I'm like, motherfucker. And so, yeah, this guy's apparently balls deep in the Shin Splints Recovery Group, like which you too can be a part of if you find them on Facebook. If you have any pain below the knee and above the ankle, the Shin Splints Recovery Group.
He's the Jim Bob of the Shin Splints.
In a not so direct way, folks, Murr said that the Shin Splints Recovery Group is now backed by actual medicine.
Yes. And I told the administrator of the Shin Splints Recovery Group that he might as well just go balls deep like that fucking author that got found out on Oprah, where he lied about was like a million little threads or something like that, where he lied about being like a drug addict, and then he had to own it like he was an actual drug addict, and then he sold like 2 fucking million copies of his book, and it was like, all right, I wasn't really a drug addict.
I never really suffered from shin splints.
We need to infiltrate. We got to get in there. We got to start talking about tingly. I don't even know what terminology these people use.
The first line of the administrator's book is I haven't run in 30 years. Just moseying on the golf course.
The thing is, I don't want to blow his spot up because it's like it's almost like an Andy Kaufman bit on Facebook.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, like we'll just say Derek is the intergender champion of Facebook medical groups.
Oh man, so good.
So let's get to it. It's time for 3 and Out. And your first 3 and Out question is going to be our 3 and Out sneak peek question of the week. We are a non-bullshit Facebook group, and you can find us, MDL Classholes, on Facebook. And the 3 and Out sneak peek question of the week reads like this. Alan, we will start with you. If aliens took over and humans were put into zoos, what would you want in your zoo enclosure? I mean, you got to think about it like this. This is it, okay? You know, the monkeys get a tree, a fucking fake pond, a bushel of bananas tossed over a fucking gate every day. What's your enclosure like that you could deal with for the rest of your natural life?
Are you limited to certain things? Are you okay, you got five a 5-item limit?
I would just say so they're aliens. So, you know, they don't understand your language. They kind of figure out what you like. So you can convince them that you like this one thing, and this is going to be the only thing they stock for you. Okay. So if you say you like beer, you're gonna have a fridge full of beer every week. You know, gotcha. So it's going to be the same thing. So whatever it is, this is like, pick it now, and forever hold your peace.
Well, you know what I'm eating.
Fucking truffle tacos, yeah.
Fucking tacos. No. I would like probably like a little bit of water. So some sort of pool. I would honestly like just set me up like an enclosure that is like a mid-size or a mid-length par 3 with a water hazard. And like a safe water hazard, not like one of them scummy like muni ponds, but like a fucking water hazard for an animal to live in. And so that I could kind of just, you know, swim about in it every now and then, dive to retrieve balls that I inevitably shank into said water. And tacos, endless tacos all the time. I think I'd be good, bro.
You're a simple man. Mike on Facebook said basically the same thing. A golf course and a fully stocked clubhouse bar. Now, I will say, Mike, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but a full 18-hole golf course ain't going to fly in this enclosure. But yeah, I'd say like a solid like 2-way par 3, you know, like you tee off from one green to the other and then vice versa. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You got it.
Okay. Wes, what's going in your West Fox Zoo enclosure?
It's going in the foxhole.
It might be red. The only thing I can say is Christ, that is really good. That is extremely good. That's kind of what I would want. The only thing I would say is halfway through the split fairway, if you have par 3 going this way and par 3 coming backwards and they're running parallel, through the middle of that, maybe a soccer net on one side so I can knock the ball around a little bit. Then the water hazard for swimming purposes. And a fucking kegerator, and now at that point, are they just feeding me fucking pellets of goodness that satisfies me, or are they just giving me what I need?
I think they've studied you for a certain period of time, and you know whatever foods that you know are whatever habit foods that you have are kind of what they're going to feed you on a weekly basis.
So maybe like a grill, and then I'll say, hey, you know, chuck me down some ribeye.
Yeah, I wouldn't sleep on the compassion of the zookeepers, because I've been watching a lot of the Disney behind the scenes, the Animal Kingdom stuff, and they treat them animals quite nice. No, I mean, obviously it's Disney, so you know it's like a premier zoo, I guess, if you're an animal. But like they gave the gorilla like a sweet potato cake for his birthday. That seems nice.
Right.
Like, so yeah, I think the handlers would be nice.
I think I would also like a plexiglass display to where alien families and children come and check me out. That way I could throw poop against it and just give it like a good like Nolan Ryan fucking like poof. You.
It's like that Rick and Morty where they end up in the display case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a pretty simple guy. I feel like I'm gonna need a couch, and I'm gonna need at least some basic cable with a flat screen TV. You know, as far as athletics are concerned, I haven't done much in quite some time. I don't know that I need a dartboard and a pool table. I think I'm gonna be kind of the lazy monkey of the group here, So yeah, I'm gonna go like dartboard, pool table. Basically, I just need a bar. That's all I need. I need a
Yeah.
bar. It's gonna look like Cheers, and it's gonna have a nice wraparound bar, a couch, a flat screen TV, pool table, dartboard, shuffleboard table. And it's going to be the saddest thing in the world watching me compete against myself in both pool and shuffleboard.
Now, are they going to allow for conjugal visits, or is that is that at the alien discretion?
I would hope so. I mean, I would think that they would like to have some sort of breeding capacity for our species. So yeah, every now and again, just some.
Right.
Oh God! But God knows what aliens think we find attractive. So it's just going to be some horse-faced bitch that, like, why aren't they breeding? Like, because she smells like menthol cigarettes. And it's just, we're going to die out very shortly.
Raise a sliding gate, and she comes running through, like into your enclosure. Like, what's going on here? You like Blade one because you're in the middle of your backswing.
Start hitting fucking worm burners at her. I feel like like if they weren't doing that, fecal matter wouldn't be the only thing I was throwing at the plexiglass display case.
Just fucking rockets.
And question number 2 in tonight's 3 and Out reads like this. Wes, we will start with you. If you could bring back any canceled TV series, which show would you bring back?
All right. So straight up canceled, meaning not that it there was some strike or sometimes they don't get canceled. Sometimes they just end on various reasons. There's just like lack of funding.
Yeah, I do want to add a caveat to this because there's a couple of shows that I liked and they found out that they were going to be quote unquote ending early. And so they fucked them up because they didn't have time to finish out the series. Mm-hmm. And this will make sense with my answer when I get to it. So I will accept shows like that as well. Like the shows that ended, we'll just say sort of abruptly.
Prematurely?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one of my favorite guilty pleasures from like the mid 90s, or maybe it was like late 90s. It was called Freaks and Geeks. I was a big fan of that show. It was 3 seasons. Had a young James Franco and Seth Rogen on it. It ended abruptly. Sucked. It was a great show. I would bring that back. Now, with those same characters, probably not. I don't even know if it had the same pizzazz because I watched it when I was in high school, and I related to those clowns. Made me feel good about myself. Made me feel good in my plums. But I did. Freaks and Geeks comes to mind. I'd have to think of like an insurance policy answer, but that's number 1. I'll let Alan answer and see if I come up with anything else.
Okay. I mean, there's like I would think like initially I was thinking about the cartoons like I really liked like Kablam on Nickelodeon back in the day. You know what I mean? Things like that. But what show that more recently that I've really loved, and I know a few people that also were on board with it, that ended I think far too soon, was a show called Happy Endings. And it was on ABC. Yeah, no, it was just a sitcom, but it was like wonderfully casted. It had Damon Wayans Jr. in it and a couple other people.
Yes, I remember that.
It's phenomenal. Yeah. It's very witty. It's a great, like, I guess our age kind of, you know what I mean?
Our age, but adults, grown up.
Yes. Yeah. Like, not,
which we are right now.
It was like the first sitcom where you watched it, like, where I kind of watched it and was like, oh, we're not like just 22-year-old drunkards. These are like adults with jobs and homes and things, but still assholes. So rightly so. So I highly suggest it to both of you if you haven't watched it at all. It's really fucking good. There's only 3 seasons of it, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But
that dark hair broad's pretty cute.
Yeah, they're all comedic actors. Alicia Cuthbert's in it, the broad from what was it, The Girl Next Door, the little blonde girl. Yeah. She's also hilarious. Yeah, it's just a really well casted show that I think it ran up against tough like other shows at the time that came out, that like things that are still on the air, and it just never found its home. But a very good show.
Happy Endings, good one. All right, so we got Freaks and Geeks, we got Happy Endings. Murr is going to come at us with like I don't know, some sort of reiteration of I don't know, Play-Doh Man or something like that.
No. The thing is, I have several, and I don't know how to narrow them down. Quantum Leap was the first one that jumped into mind because Quantum Leap
was canceled.
It was canceled, and when they found out they were canceled, they recorded like a bullshit 15-minute ending, and since they didn't know how to end it, they were like, Sam's fucked. He's just gonna be trapped in this shit forever, and so he had to keep leaping. And it was like, what? There's no resolution to this show, so I'd want to bring it back, and I feel like a show like that. They could bring it back right now, like Scott Bakula still caught in the fucking loop of the Matrix, and Sam Beckett is like, finally, how does he get out of this joint, and finally figures out how to. So I'd like them to bring it back for like a season or two, kind of like what they did with like Arrested Development. Like that was canceled, and then Netflix was like, hey, come on, we gotta end this thing. Let's create a 2-3 season arc, and we'll just end this fucker. What was one of my other ones? I'd like them to redo Lost. I'd like the ending to be different. So I'd like to bring it back just to fix that shit. Game of Thrones. I'd like one more season to fix that fucker. I have several that I'd like to bring back just to fix, but I think my number one is Quantum Leap because that was one of the first quote unquote adult shows that I remember watching, with my dad and my family, and just like that was appointment television for us. And it was just at the very end, like, oh, we were sad, like, oh, Quantum Leap's ending. Oh, how's this going to end? With it not ending. Perfect. Thanks, Hollywood assholes.
He's stuck in the quantum. That's an ending. That's it. God. Shame on you for not being able to understand Hollywood writing. That's all I got to say about that.
Or if we wanted to bring back a show, news radio. I would like to see.
Hell yeah!
That show got fucked.
It'd be tough. No Phil Hartman.
But yeah, but I mean, they had acting. John Lovitz. Like John Lovitz did a fine job when he came back. It's just they kept moving its time slot, and people just forgot where to find it.
Yeah.
And it just went away.
Maybe Dear John with what's his face from Taxi. That met a muddy end.
Hold on, I need to know his name. What's his name? He's got a weird, heavily Jewish guy. He played Jeff Goldblum's dad in Independence Day.
Fuck, I forgot. I forget his name. Shit.
Come on, Wes.
The wheels are turning here. God, I've got a few IPAs in me.
Just go look it up.
Louis Anderson, I think. Or is it...
I didn't play that part.
Judd Hirsch. Yeah.
Judd Hirsch.
Is it male prostitutes licking whipped cream out of Louis Anderson's asshole? Is that the answer?
Gets the square.
Booyah. All right. Number Trey.
All right. Your third question and final question in tonight's 3 and Out. And Alan, we will start with you. Let's see. If you could go back and uninvent something, what invention would you erase from history?
Facebook? Fucking.
That's a fine answer.
Yeah, I've been casually opining about the fucking how much I hate Facebook for like the last 2 years probably. So you know what? I'm gonna say it. Fucking Facebook. Fuck Facebook.
But here's my question though: Is Facebook an invention, or is that just part of the overarching internet?
Nah, I think it started as an invention, and now because it's not the internet. The internet is not fucking Facebook. It's just where fucking people go on the internet because there was nowhere else to go prior. Right. You know what I'm saying? The internet still works.
So you don't draw the line at MySpace. That was okay.
No, because that actually brought about some workable skills. It learned you a little bit of HTML coding, which is not useful at all in 2021, but you know it. Okay. So that's a thing. You could rank your friends. Like I would definitely rank my friends if Facebook let me, for shits and giggles. put new people on there that I haven't talked to since like middle school, just to see when they get the notification how they react.
And
like that would enhance Facebook for me.
Theme music when it gets on your. That's the one thing I miss about MySpace.
Tom, lovable, aloof in his picture. Fucking the Zuck. We all know about that guy. Yeah, exactly. So, I like how y'all both hit it at the same time. The Zuck. We know he's an android, so that's fucking Tom's way better.
I miss the music when you went on someone's page.
Yeah, like how are you going to know that I'm really into Gangstar at the moment if I don't embed it onto the front of my MySpace?
Now, this was an interesting with MySpace, working at a radio station, people would call you and be like, "Hey, what's your name, man?" And then they would tell you who they were, and then you'd be off the air chatting for a couple seconds and be like, you'd look up their Facebook page, and all of a sudden it's like these like epileptic inducing like flash images of skulls and crossbones. It's like, okie dokie, avoid this human at all real communication cost. Don't run into this guy at the car dealership you'll be at next week, because you might lose a limb and he might worship it as a god. But MySpace, you had to actually find the person.
Yeah,
Facebook,
like you
it's open to everyone.
You couldn't just fucking put fucking space lasers into the void and fucking it take off. Like you would have had to be like, hey Wes, how about Jewish space lasers, huh? Like, and then you'd be like, you're fucking stupid. That's weird. We're not going to spread that around to anyone else. Like, I'm also typing like this, just so you know. So MySpace vastly superior, I think, in all regards.
To just Facebook.
Facebook. So, get Facebook out of here. I don't really use Twitter. That place seems weird to me. Yeah. I mean, what do you gotta get rid of Instagram for? It's just pictures, fuck that. That's fine. Facebook. Facebook is the devil.
Okay, Wes.
Yeah. Probably like French tickler condoms, because only sailors use those.
It's a Spanish fly.
It's just like I don't think I could like dial back to any invention and be like, ugh, God, that's terrible.
Right? Fucking light switches.
Ugh.
Stupid.
Well, the thing is, and I know this is a tough question, because it's like whenever you think of an invention, like, well, it obviously exists for a reason, right?
Sure.
Someone made it. And so to try to think of something, it is a tough concept to try to think of something that we would be better off without. I'm going to go deep into the weeds.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to get to you guys first.
Well, something, I mean, something that's either been invented that you don't like has been compounded on or expanded upon or improved. So that's kind of the tough outlier in this all the situation. I don't know, Gorilla Glue. I'm just kidding. I don't hate social media the way Alan hates it. I don't know. Maybe like those small fucking pussy ice scrapers. Why the hell do you need those? Those pocket-sized ones. Give me those big mamma jammers.
Dude,
give me the scrapers on a broomstick.
but you wouldn't have got the scraper on the broomstick without the pussy pocket-sized ice scrapers. And I remember my dad, he probably still has it. I will ask him if he still has it. He had like the original windshield ice scraper. It just had a straight up, no name on it, yellow handle, and it was like plexiglass too. It wasn't just standard plastic. It was like plexiglass at the front, unbreakable. You could smash that thing. You could smash a windshield with that thing if you wanted to. Uh-huh. If you really needed to like break out of a car, you probably could have shattered a window with it. And he had it from like the 1970s until like I moved out of the house. It's probably still hanging around somewhere. Dull as shit, can't scrape anything, but he doesn't throw anything away. See, I was actually contemplating going with just straight up the internet. I know it's a very useful tool for sharing information, but I also feel like it might be the most destructive force ever created by man. Really, all it does is incite riots and share pornography with everyone. I don't know how I almost feel like maybe not uninvent it, but don't release it to the public. I know we're doing this show over the internet, which makes it rather contradictory. However,
it seems a lot like China.
However, I feel like a lot of the downfall of modern society is because of the internet. But the one I wanted to go with was actually the internal combustion engine, because me and my buddy one of my buddies from high school got into a really big argument about this a long time ago. It's like we were actually arguing about aliens. And my point was, if we didn't invent the internal combustion engine, maybe we would have started with something else and we would have advanced on something else. And maybe we'd have already been to another planet. Maybe the fact that we've been sucking fucking black gold animal guts out of the ground for the last 100 and some years, maybe we've actually stymied our own advancement by just being locked onto this one point of propulsion.
I think we know that we have another means to do it, but we're all still just pussies to use nuclear in case one of us kills the entire world.
John, yeah.
So like we have it, but we're like, are we good enough? Yeah, we still like a wave hit a nuclear plant and that fucked it all up. So, how good should we strap a rocket to it or make it? Should we give it to Murr, Wes, and Allen to drive in their automobiles? Should we put tiny little reactors into things that idiot people drive around every day to get to work?
You mislabeled it. It's White and White Allen. White Wes and Murr Brown Allen with a rocket.
Yes.
Just to be clear. Yeah. And the other thing I was thinking of is hard-boiled egg slicers. The things that make slice hard-boiled eggs into 6 pieces, 6 slices. Eat the fucking whole hard-boiled egg, you pussy.
The apple slicers, they never get the whole core.
Dude, I use one of those daily. I use one of those 7 days a week.
Yeah, me too.
And I every time I'm like, didn't get it all.
You're not gonna cut this little piece off.
Yeah,
that's all fibrous. I don't want that.
I feel like it's made. It's made in a country by a man who has men who have small penises, because that sucker's burnt.
Well, I got news for you. All things are made in countries with men with small penises. Now, I actually went and I got online and I bought a high-end apple slicer because I've got a 6-year-old, and the one I got, it's perfect.
Hands-free?
Even once you put it through, no, it's not hands-free. I mean, you push it down, but but it's got the hole is bigger, so it gets the whole thing. So what I do is then after I've sliced the apples for the kid, I just sit there and like a fucking squirrel, just and I finish off the core. But here's the best part about this particular apple slicer. Once it goes through, it's got this flap that you take around to the other side. You turn it upside down, and boom, it pops all of those motherfuckers out onto the plate.
Damn, what brand is that, bro?
I don't know, man. But it was $15, and usually they're a nickel.
That's worth.
Usually they're a nickel at the grocery store.
Yeah, they're called knives. They're sharp objects.
You know what?
But as an honor,
I would like to point out as a middle class holes ambassador to the rest of the world, with 2 guys in their 30s and a guy in his early 40s, that all of us just admitted that we use an apple core probably 5 days a week. I think that's funny. I think it's worth noting.
Yeah, nobody got time for that shit. It's one motion, pow.
I eat apples regularly.
I do, man. Give me a granny. I think going back to one of your food pictures, I'm fairly certain one of my pictures was just sliced up Granny Smith apples on a paper plate. And I was like, Wes, look at these juicy Granny Smith apples. Don't they look delicious?
I think you said breakfast.
I might have.
Let me tell you, if you haven't experienced the Honeycrisp, That might be the way to go, buddy.
Yeah, I am pretty much exclusively a Granny Smith apple eater.
I used to be until I found the Honeycrisp apple. And when they're in season, they're fake Honeycrisp. But when fall rolls around and the real Honeycrisp are on the shelf, do yourself a salad.
They're a little more expensive. You're going to like $2.30 a pound, just so you know. You're getting out of middle class whole range.
The
tartness.
It's like I don't eat red grapes. I eat green grapes. Exclusively.
Yeah, because they're superior. You're right there.
Well, yeah, but no, I always tell myself I'm gonna eat a different apple. Like I think we went like apple or I don't know fruit picking or something, and I was like, look at this delicious Macintosh, and I was like, nope, that's fucking trash. That's not a Granny Smith. Get that the fuck out. Throw that on the ground immediately.
The Honeycrisp is a red delicious with the crispness of a Granny Smith apple. That's
all right. I will try a Honeycrisp. For you.
But my honorable mention for invention I would uninvent would in fact be the body blade device.
Did you not get the results that you were promised?
I got years of misery, and I got shamed into. I got shamed so hard that I didn't get the results because of the motion that a human body has to go through to perform the actions necessary to get the results.
Do you still have
body
it?
blade can enhance you physically, but mentally it'll do a number to you.
Do you still have this inertia machine?
I do.
I think it's an inertia generator.
Then why don't we get a little demo, man? Get your son to hold your phone, hit record.
I was gonna say you should give us the workout.
Come on, man. Do it for the middle class holes.
All right, I gotta find it. I will find it. I have a sneaking suspicion it's in the garage somewhere, and I will dig it up, and I will put on a Lycra onesie, and I will give you TikTok-esque body blade routines. It's the OG body blade, by the way.
You don't have wristbands, armbands, and a headband on, I'm going to fucking be furious.
Right. For $7.99 on Amazon, I'm pretty sure I can make that happen.
$7.99 seems steep.
I was just thinking
same 8 for $5.
I was just thinking you'd staple washcloths around your wrist.
That would be fantastic.
All right, Alan, where can you find us before we get the hell out of here tonight?
Oh, we're on all of the social medias. That's right. We're on Facebook at the Middle Class Holes. We're on Instagram and Twitter, which is at MDL Classholes. And of course, you can find us on all your favorite listening platforms. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And that's it, because we don't care about any other platforms right now.
All right, and in 3 weeks from today, March 4th's coming up, and I without blowing your load, give us a little teaser on the Q report.
March 4th, Donald Trump will become the 19th president of the United States.
Wow, unbelievable! Let that sink in, folks.
Yeah, just marinate. Let that marinate for a couple weeks, guys, because. We've got some stuff to talk about. We gotta
find an expert. I would like to get a fourth party. By fourth party, I mean a fourth person other than us to discuss and fill us in on what you just said. That's fascinating to me, and I read a little bit about it.
Do you think if we arrange like a quinoa bowl for the shaman, he'd hop on the mic for us? I mean, did they start feeding him organic yet? I think he'd kill a motherfucker for some quinoa at this point, is all I'm saying.
I don't like giving twats justification or airtime. I am willing to make an exception because I am blown away by all the words spoken. Like, that's one of the greatest teases. I'm like, okay, Donald Trump, president, 19th president? March 4th? I have no idea what you're talking about. I usually feel like I am in the know, and I know nothing.
Yeah, bro.
And I would like to take this. I would like to get someone on and take it 100% seriously and pretend we back them until we log them out, and then we mock the piss out of them.
You'll know about the Winter White House that is Mar-a-Lago?
Right. And
I did hear about the Winter White House, but I did not. Oh shit, he's still not the gangsta signs. I'm full ball. I'm balls in. So I'm dipping them.
I guess my first question would be, and I just looked this up because I don't know who the 19th president. Okay, who is taking over for Rutherford B. Hayes, who is filling his shoes as the 19th president of the United States from 1877 to 1881. But all right, listen, we'll do our best. If we had to discuss it internally, that's fine. But we're going to do our best to get someone on here to explain this to us.
Send us your Q questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I said that. Send us your Q questions because we definitely want to hear what you think. If you have a lead, I will follow it. to the gates of Hillary Clinton's face fillet restaurant. I will follow it.
We'll have a QAnon and A right here.
QAnon and A.
I like that as a tagline for the Q report.
Yeah.
You got a lead. I'll follow it.
Oh, that's a good one.
Is it a hot lead?
Fake. I was listening to it again today. It's so funny.
Man. Good night, everybody.
Man.